everyone, today we are going to be talking about brand new Natasha Denona Hyper Natural Face Palette. Another Natasha Denona release, 24-month shelf life, made in Italy, came into this gorgeous packaging which looks so luxurious, but it leaves fingerprints all over the place, which it's fine because it's easy to maintain, so it's all good. This is how palette looks like. This palette is a hybrid face palette with an everyday eye and cheek essential for the no makeup concept with all new formula. Inside we have 5 eyeshadows. This formula in general is brand new formula, and I'm really excited that I had yet another chance to try something again new and innovative from Natasha Denona. This palette is priced for $62, which, considering everything, I know it's a bit smaller in size, but for the $62, I don't think you can get this type of a good quality product all in one in the same palette, you know? So you get a lot for a pretty reasonable price considering it is Natasha Denona. 5 eyeshadows, no mattes in here when it comes to eyeshadows, but we do have mattes in the bronze and contour trio, and we're having ultra soft blush duo. And I will say you'll see from the demonstration that I know I look a bit different, like uneven, because I was trying different shades today. As this is first review, I wanted to try as much as I can because tomorrow I will create specific look. But we are also having multifunctional contour and bronze trio, and I can agree with that. And it is like an airbrush effect, one of my favorites so far, but still I have to test it, try it over and over again to be able to say like my firm thought. This is just going to be first impression today. This palette has been available on Natasha Denona and other retailers right now. If you are buying from Natasha Denona, you can use additional 50% off if you use my code Ivana15, which will give you 15% off of your purchase, which is always great, especially when you are buying something that is on a much, you know, expensier side. I will link everything that I can down below. I will do some comparisons as well. For me, first, when I saw this screamed glam. So I first thought that this is kind of a combination between glam and also I Need a Nude palette. But somehow the layout of this palette gives me retro vibes. I don't know why. Anyways, these eyeshadows are labeled as one and done eyeshadows, meaning you can use it with your finger or with a brush, apply one eyeshadow and call it a day. That is not me. If you are watching my videos, you know, as I like to say, if I don't apply 10 or 15 eyeshadows, I don't think I've done anything. So I really love to do depth layering. A lot of the colors, they don't have to necessarily be colorful colors, but having a depth no matter what I do. Will I be able to do that? Because this can be like no makeup look that you can create with this. Also, you can layer certain colors and give it a little bit more depth. How much? We'll see next time. These eyeshadows, so Everyday Statement, Soft and Casual, are new formula, which this one is Wet Effect formula, and these 4 perform the same. This one, however, oh my god, like you'll see my reaction when I try this one. This is the highlight, or for me, this is the highlight in every possible way. When it comes to this palette, I was not expecting to loving this one that much, and I also think it's multifunctional. I am loving this. And the highlight that I do have, this palette doesn't have highlighter, and the highlight I do have is from this Dreamy eyeshadow. Amazing. Like when I tried it, it just looks phenomenal. That's all I'm going to say from the first impressions. This palette is so soft in formulation, and she has done different formula. That is for sure. You can see that just by swatching the texture of the products. This palette also has been named after mood and occasions. Also, what I appreciate, for the majority of people, this palette has not been designed only with the professional or people that are kind of skilled in using makeup, but if you are total beginner, this is supposed to be helpful the way it applies, and I can agree with that. But one thing that's screaming on the internet is why big brand as Natasha Denona hasn't released different option with this palette. for the bronze and contour, because obviously this is too light for the other half of the skin depth. For me, this works perfectly and I have options, but if I am 10 plus when it comes to skin tone, I think I will be struggling with this palette. Not necessarily with the eyeshadows, but with, maybe not even with the blush right here. This one is beautiful, but it barely can pass, even though I'm so fair, you know. So I don't know, like when she released her Glam Face palette, she did have options, and this time that's not the case. Are we going to get another release of this? I don't think we will, because it would be only logical that she did this at the same time. Why she didn't, I don't know. But apparently this has been, I think, labeled for everybody. But if you are deeper in a skin complexions, please let me know your feedback. I would like to know what was your experience with this palette. So in that term, I don't think this one is going to be, and it's not appealing to so many people, unfortunately, just because we don't have other options. Hopefully I didn't forget something. Before I continue to a tutorial, I wanted to show you comparisons between the Glam and I Need a Nude palette to see what is the difference, and also some other products that I can find. So let's go. Okay, you guys, here's the palette. So now let's go on and swatch it. I cannot wait to try this new formula. So the first one is going to be Everyday. Oh, I can feel this is like, it's definitely creamy formula. Here is the shade. Let's swatch it. It does remind me really like a hybrid between I Need a Nude and Glam palette. This overall reminds me more of a Glam palette, to be honest. It swatched really nicely, but yeah, nothing too crazy when I swatched again. This wet type of formula. So this one out of them all is different, and everything else is basically new. This one does have like a iridescent, kind of a rosy undertone. I think this would be good for a highlight. At the moment, for me, as I am a fair skin tone, I don't think this is going to be enough for the lighten up the eye, but we will see that. That was Dreamy, and now let's move on to a Statement shade. Again, same formula and so creamy. To the point, to be honest with you, I am not quite sure if I'm going to prefer this over her I Need a Nude formula from that palette. But this one, oh, this one surprisingly, wow, it's swatched amazing, and it feels like it gets kind of a dry once you apply it, and it's pretty much dark, you guys. Now we have shade Soft. This one is the softest out of them all, but again, can you see this? To the point where I get a little bit confused, skeptical when I press it, but it will all come down to the performance, you guys. I don't know how many of you will like this shade. It's definitely rosy. It's not too bright, but every single of these swatch like a butter so beautifully. And let's go to the casual. I don't know how much of a casual this is going to be. This is more like gray type of a color, and again, without a problem, swatching beautifully. Wow, this palette has been, when it comes to swatches, like the palette, one of the palettes I swatched the easiest ever. Here they are, all the 5 shades. Interesting. So these two in a depth are pretty much similar, at least on a swatch. This one right here is more of a transitional shade. If I'm gonna combine anything from this, obviously this is highlight, and this one can be also wear on a as a transitional color as well, but obviously you can just wear them on by themselves, you know. Anyways, let's switch to a blushes. So we have 2 blush. Let's see. Oh, it's not, yeah, it's definitely not the dry. It is more of a creamy formula, especially once I kind of warm it up, if that makes sense. This is how they look like. So let's go with a lighter shade. I'm afraid this one it's going to be like too bright, but it's going to be good if you're going to mix it with this one. On a swatch, honestly, it looks a little bit intimidating. Kind of a first reminder for me was the one that I didn't like, and that was from Hourglass new blush from the Leopard palette. I'll definitely do the comparison as well. Here is the blush in full opacity. Definitely strong. And the other one, I don't know, it's just a bit too strong, but let's see what happens when we do this. You know, it's good to have kind of indication for what we're going to do. I'm happy that they're both mattes, that I don't have to mix highlighter within it. And this is the color that you get, and I really love this color, you guys. So probably gonna use it, mixing it together. And now let's move on to a bronze and contour. So the first shade, this is really cool toned. Yeah, definitely cool toned. Again, I'm really fair, but it swatches beautifully, you guys. I don't know how much of it you can see because I'm fair. I don't know, it's almost as it blends into my skin. The next shade, middle shade. I feel like you are olive toned. This wouldn't be the best for you. They are leaning more cool tone neutral than they actually don't have warmth. I don't know about the last one, but these ones kind of a skeptical for the olive tone skin tones. And again, just wanted to remind you that this is just a swatching. You can tell a lot from the swatching, but the end will come down to performance and wear test, and that's what we are here for. Let's swatch the last one. Not too deep. You know what? Somehow they look way deeper in the pan. I don't know how. I thought they're going to be deeper. But not from the swatches. I'm even curious if this is for the tan skin tone. Definitely not for the deep. And here it is. Also, just for the end, what I'm going to do, just to swatch all of them to see what is going to be the custom shade. Well, actually, it's really nice. At least I know it's going to be nice for me, I believe. So this one is mixed. This one is mixed as well. Everything else is just pure swatch. Let's go. Here I have I Need a Nude palette next to Hyper Face palette. They do have some similarities in the tone. Her wet effect formula was Shein and Mia. I tried Dreamy next to the Mia and Shein, and honestly I do prefer Dreamy over both of these. I think it's beautiful, it's gorgeous. If it was half of the shade lighter in this undertone, it would be even better, possibly, but this is amazing. I love this formula. It's more like a topper. It's amazing. Okay, let's check now Everyday and Statement from the new palette. And then I have everything else from I Need a Nude palette. This one is Ella. Then we have Travertine, Delilah, and Filigree. In the undertone, these two are like the similar, but the thing is that we have the formula is different. These are much more sparkly, and these apply differently, and the formula, like I mentioned, is different, and therefore they are appealing different on the eyelid. But they really do look kind of a similar, right? The formulation is different, but the tone is definitely there. So it's having its similarity, yeah. And yeah, this one is much more deeper than the Filigree, which is kind of surprising. Didn't think it's going to be deeper. Yeah, she definitely puts a really deep shade in the Hyperface palette. Here it is next to the Glam palette. Definitely even more similar of like how it appeals, but let's just watch and see what's going on. Here are the two shades that I could have found that are kind of similar. Well, these two kind of closer, and this one, outer eyelid, it's having a different undertone. But I also want to swatch Casual from the new palette, and then this shade Center Eyelid. Here they are, and they are different, but you can see how in the new palette we don't have that much reflection, so it is something in between, you know, like being I understand now why she didn't apply mattes necessarily, so it is something in between, you know, it's not super reflective. When it comes to Casual, I wanted to see if I can even find anything similar to similar to Casual shade. This one has specific undertone, definitely. This is soft from the new palette. This is center eyelid from the Glam palette. So this is soft from the new palette, this center eyelid from the Glam palette, and then from the new, this is creamy, and then this is inner corner from the Glam palette. Overall, this palette has more combination like and undertones like the Glam palette does than the nude palette has, but when it comes to browns, it's more similar to the brown shades there, but in general it does remind more of the Glam palette. I am gonna go and start with my primer first, of course. Today I'm gonna be using Pilise Base 02. As I mentioned already, I'm kind of uncomfortable with this technique, to be honest, because I am definitely not the type of one and done eyeshadow. I'm more like, if I don't apply 15 eyeshadow on one eye, I don't think I've done anything. I know it sounds crazy, but it's just what it is. Anyways, you know what? I want to apply Dreamy shade as my highlight to see if it's going to be light enough. I hope it will. And I want to start with what I'm going to do first. Let's start with the Everyday, which is the first eyeshadow right here. Make sure I don't have any creasing, you guys, and apply it with the finger. I will apply the rest of them also with a brush. Actually, some of them with a brush. Yeah, in the swatches, when I swatched this, my concern was like it was too kind of a sticky, but I don't know how it's going to work on the eyelid. But let me just show you what is the color. And this is kind of a medium toned shade. It's beautiful and definitely can stand on its own, but for the edges, I need a brush. So the blending brushes are not the best to pick up this type of a product. We don't have any matte eyeshadows in here. So that means that either you're gonna get like kind of a bullet or kind of a little bit more stirry in between bullet and blending brush. And that one will pick the product better. But just try to avoid blending brushes. But just for the test purposes, let's see what is going to happen. It's definitely going to be sheer opacity. But of course, for this area right here, I would always suggest brush that is a bit more stirry. I will use clean blending brush for my edges, as always. And now I want to combine the Dreamy shade with this one. Actually, it's blended nicely and it looks nice. If I pack more product, yeah, it's basically the same. Easy to apply. Honestly, not much to say. Let me grab my small flat brush. I'm interested to see how this shade will perform. So I just wanted to mention that today is just a first impression. Oh, talking about the first impressions, you guys. I need a second. Oh my god, this blended so beautifully. Okay, can the camera pick this up? Because this is like, give me a second. This is like giving you glass skin effect with being subtle. You know what? This is gonna go as my highlighter. How pretty is this? This is her Wet Effect formula. And this one is even better than the one, we'll do all the comparisons. This is better than, at least this shade appears better than from her I Need a Nude palette, which was Mia, and it's gorgeous, but this one is, for me, it's next level. I'm pretty fair. I was skeptical that it's going to be kind of a bit darker than I thought it's going to be. It's not, it's good, and I know for a fact now that it's going to look nice even when I'm tanned. This is amazing. Again, I don't know how much camera can catch this, but it's just like hitting certain spots as a glass reflection, and it's not being nothing like too highlighted. You know, when the highlighter is too crazy, that's not it. I don't know what's going to happen when I apply my setting spray. So far, beautiful. I cannot wait to create in-depth look tomorrow. I think that's what I started to say like 5 minutes ago. I'm so sorry for this, but yeah. I think from the swatches, Everyday is my least liked shade from here, but probably the one to go and loved shade for a lot of you. We all have our preferences. And we don't wear certain shades the same, right? So some of the shades, obviously because of a skin undertone, because of the color of your eyes, will look differently. So that's that you would prefer differently. This is really sheery, guys, and yeah, I can relate for this to be everyday. This is nothing too much. I'm not going to apply any liner or anything, but just wanted to show you the effect of this eyeshadow. For me, it's nothing innovative, nothing too crazy or spectacular, but this is what we are going to talk about more. I want to switch to other eye and just to try the next shade. On this side, I wanted to go in with the shade Casual right here. I'm also going to apply with my finger. So weird. Okay, that is, first of all, seems a little bit kind of a sheer when I think about it, or it's just a reflection. But honestly, I don't know what is casual about this shade. I need a flat brush. I want to pack my brush to see the full opacity. It is way easier for me to work with the brushes. As this is darker shade, I'm going to use smaller blending brush. Oh, and it's picking up really nicely with smaller. Listen, if you are using any blending brushes with this type of a formula, I would suggest for you to use like small blending brush like this. This one is, for example, from Pilates, and it is number 143. It's a small blending detail brush, which I really love. And then just with the clean one. Wow, these are really, really easy to use. And once again, going in with a dreamy shade. It's so buttery. Also wanted to see how this one applies on top of any other eyeshadow here. I definitely know you can combine it with a soft shade. And also, I am not having fallout, you guys. And it's just mainly because of the texture of the formulation of these eyeshadows. My only concern would be if this is actually going to crease, how long it's going to last. They don't feel like they are having super longevity. Maybe I'm wrong. It's just my opinion based on how these eyeshadows feel. I'm not able to do full in-depth wear test. I'm going to do that tomorrow, you guys. And so here is Everyday with a combination of a soft, and here we have Casual with the combination of a soft. I really do love both of them. I'm just concerned how this would work on the oily eyelids. Do you have to set anything before it? Like this type of eyeshadows, you guys, I really do love to use when I have a matte base underneath. For that, from this palette, we can use these contour and bronze shades. So that's what I'm going to do tomorrow, like full in-depth tutorial. Now let's try how soft shade is looking on the eyelid. I'm not sure if I would wear this one on its own. Like, it's not too bright, but I think this will go better in a combination with something else. I mean, it's pretty color, but let me apply Dreamy in my inner corner on top of it, also underneath my brow bone. I don't feel like this one is looking too flattering on me. I would rather use this one as a combo for, I don't know, just to use it with the other eyeshadows. But this is how it looks like on its own. It's pretty soft and sheer. And now let's go and try the last one, which is Statement. Once again, all over the eyelid. I just wanted to mention that you make sure that whenever you're applying this type of a eyeshadow, that you do not have any creasing. Otherwise, because they are delicate as they are, you know, so taking small brush, blending brush, and blend the edges. Another thing I wanted to mention is that when you blend these eyeshadows, they become a little bit more sheer than when you initially apply them. I will apply more with my finger, so you can see that. But when it comes to performance and blending, these are really easy, and I believe if you are a beginner, you will really appreciate this type of a formula. And like, I really love what she did, that she had even different target market than just professionals, which can use even a bit harder formulas to work with, but this one in specific is really easy to you guys to work with. I'm also going to use clean brush, and you can see how diffused you can get, like really easy. And now just going to saturate a little bit. You can see how much more of a shine we get. But yeah, definitely this type of a darker shade I cannot apply just with the finger. It's a bit harder, so I really do need my brush to blend the edges. And now going in with the shade Dreamy. I already can tell I am going to use this shade a lot. Wow, this one goes really, really nicely with this one. These two, and even combined one on top of each other. For me, this is glam. This is screaming glam. When we talk about the shades. And now the same shade for the lower lash line. Just going to apply this shade all around my lash line. Diffuse it a little bit and apply a little bit of Dreamy again in my inner corner. I'm going to apply some lashes and liner, also with mascara, and I will be right back. So guys, it has been like 3 hours later, I think, and wait a second, what is this? And I realized that unfortunately it started to creasing a little bit. So it's good that I couldn't do my makeup right away. I had to do some other stuff, but in the meantime, let me just see this for myself. Good thing is it's nothing too crazy, but can you see right here above my brush? If I can fix it, can I? It shouldn't be a problem, but still. This is just a sign that throughout the day, it's not a good one, it's going to crease even more. Also on the other eye, it's even worse. Nothing that it can't be fixed. But you know what? I don't want to blame this right away on a palette. The thing here is that, well, usually when you apply eyeshadow, the thing here is that, see, it's done in a second. So the thing here is, when it comes to eyeshadows, usually before anything, you have to have a good base, and then usually there is combination with the mattes. And then you can go on top of the shimmers and everything. But this, however, is claimed to be one and done eyeshadow, so you can apply it on top of the lid. I'll have to try different techniques and everything to see fully in depth how this works, but for now, like if I'm just using this one eyeshadow, I would have to have my brush, you guys, or just do this again with my finger, which is not convenient. But anyways, let's move on to the rest of the palette. Okay guys, so let's move on to a bronze and contour, and also with the blush. I only have my foundation, corrector, and concealer, and I set everything with the powder. Now what I want to do, first I'm gonna go with the contour, and I'm thinking usually I do like to use slightly lighter contour when it's my nose area, because that's something that's been emphasized, and if I do use a too dark of a contour, it's not gonna look pretty. I'm gonna use a big blending brush actually for this, and let's go with the lightest one. By the way, this is pretty light, cool toned, really cool toned shade. Let's see if anything's going to happen. It's so natural, and I'll say this is the reason why I probably will love this one. Either way, if you start with a deeper shade, you can instantly see the difference, and it's harder to blend. This one, however, it's really nice and soft. I'm loving that. at least for this. Now let's see the lightest one, how we can build this one up. The big issue that we have here is that this says trio. Big, really big blending brush could fit in here. That is not enough, you guys. This is not underneath my eyes area or something that I can use my brush. Oh, this one does not go all the way. Yeah. That I can use, you know, underneath my eyes. So what you will have to do is to use really narrow brush, because my regular angled brush, contour brush, it won't fit here unless I'm going to kind of pinch it. But let's start. This is going to be challenging, definitely not something I like. I will see. Take the excess off and let's start. I want to see the first one, how it will blend. Okay, this one is really soft. It mattifies. Can we even see anything? Okay, let's try once again. And this is going to be a little bit slower, unfortunately, because it is such a narrow space and I do need to go a couple of times. What I do love, actually, that it's not super pigmented in a sense that it's going to leave patches or anything. It really blends nicely. That's what I like. Okay, so I think this is the darkest that you can get out of the lighter one, and if you are somewhere around my skin complexion at the moment, I think I'm around in MAC and C15. So this is without and this is with. You guys, I'm having issue trying to be precise as much as I can. This is not my contour brush, but I have to manage somehow. I think the middle one will look so natural on me. Like the other one, the lightest one, is just for kind of a wash of a color. You're not gonna get anything. This is actually what is when she meant, oh yeah. So for the no makeup look, this could work because this looks like I'm barely having any makeup. And obviously the other two are going to give me a little bit more emphasis. So I'm curious, like if you are really deeper than a 10 in your skin tone, I think this is just going to give you a little something, you know, but still don't think this is going to be deep enough, even for that effect. Of course, this lighter shade would look like, they will look ashy on you and just it wouldn't look good at all. But this is the second one and this is the first one. Like they both look nice. You can see this one obviously a little bit more intense. Let me see what is the maximum of the depth that I can achieve here. So going in with my brush, okay, this one could work. Again, have to be really precise. And I'm gonna go on this side. You guys, these blend so nicely. But don't forget to take the excess off either way, because now I have a little patch. Let's see what we can do about it. Like this brush is like, see, it's really soft. Again, not my regular brush for this. Let's see if we can remove the patch. That will be a really good sign. Okay. I am fair in my skin, as you can tell, but if I am applying a lot of the deepest one, it is too dark for me, definitely. So again, this would look like a wash-up color on a 10, people. I'm not sure, but this is how it looks when it's having it full opacity, and this is the first one. Honestly, I love both of these. Next thing I wanted to see is how this blush will apply by itself. I'm afraid it's too light. But again, the swatches, they do not necessarily mean that it's how it's going to translate on your skin. Actually, it's looking nice, but I believe that this goes only in light combo. If you would apply this over the deeper one, I don't think it would look flawless. Oh, I really loved it. I didn't expect this one to like it, but I do. Okay, you know what? Let's try deeper one. And this one is going to be really saturated. Oh my God, it is. take the excess off. And this is just for the demonstration purposes. I did apply a little bit more of a contour, but just because I wanted to see how it blends. Okay, let's add more to see how much we can build. Hopefully I'm not going to look too crazy. Like, it's giving the healthy flush of the color, that's for sure. Like, this one is much more natural. This one, I don't know. Like, they both look kind of unnatural, but the difference is in depth. So I am definitely in between all of this. So my perfect color would be a mix of these two. And when it comes to contour and bronzer, something in between, lighter than this and deeper than this. So in saying that, let me just fix this a little. So I'm going in with a little bit deeper contour and then with a mixture of these two blushes. Yeah, that's nice. I love that. Just gives me an inspiration for tomorrow. Anyways, one last thing I wanted to try was use Dreamy shade as a highlight. Okay, it is a little bit sparkly, that's what I can say, but still I think, yeah, I think it's too, I don't want to say chunky, but it's not refined as a usual highlight, because you can definitely see sparkles. Maybe not on the camera, but it is strong. It really is. Let me just set everything with my Maybelline Last and Fix. And my opinion is regarding of setting spray that the eyeshadows would crease either way. I cannot wait to do a full wear test tomorrow to see everything that I want to see, because as usual, as you know, when I have a new palette, I love to give it a full in-depth range of everything that's possible within the certain palettes. That's not what I today done, and mainly it's because this was advertised also, I'll say mainly, especially for the eyeshadows, as a one single eyeshadow. So I wanted to see like each individual shade and to show you, because I know a lot of you will wear this palette just as, you know, on the go, one shadow, not necessarily need to use 10 eyeshadows, you know, combining everything plus this palette. So yeah, that was my main goal for today. I want to compare something. So here I have like three from the Visual Collection, 3 palettes, face palettes, and I want to swatch light, medium, and tan bronzers in comparison with the Natasha. Sorry, I don't know how much you can see from this. So here we have 3 of them, and here is her contour and bronze. Well, let me just swatch them. I don't know how much you can see. So this is Pat McGrath, light, medium, dark, and this is Natasha, light, medium, and dark. And this one looks like it's the darkest, but it really isn't that much. Plus these are lighter than this one. I'll say that the medium shade is like the lightest from the Pat McGrath. Anyways, you guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Once again, I'll say how surprisingly good formula of the bronzer and blush it is. This combo, not the best for picking up the product, but this application went so beautifully and smooth. It looks nice. It looks airbrushed, actually what it claims to be. Agree, I really agree. Let me know your comments in the comment section down below, and I will see you really soon in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.